season as we welcome you to Stegman Coliseum for the first time in 2024 as the number 16 Georgia Gym Dogs get ready to host the NC State Wolfpack, making their debut as members of the ACC for the first time today. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kevin Kopp alongside former Georgia Gym Dog All-American Sarah Persinger-Sailors. Sarah, this is a day where Georgia is welcoming back its alumni. It's focusing on the storied history that you know so much about. Of course, you are a big part of that yourself. But also, this is a day where Georgia is welcoming this #1 freshman class, and they are going to have to rely on them in a big way today. For NC State, they don't have many new faces, but it's a new conference as they get to make their debut as members of the ACC, which is sponsoring women's gymnastics for the first time this year.
Definitely a lot of history inside of Stegman Coliseum for this Georgia program, and history being made as the NC State is joining the ACC conference in this inaugural season. And I think both teams today are just going to be focused on process over perfection. For Georgia, that looks like moving through tiny little mistakes and staying with the routine. And for NC State, they really just want to come in here and translate what they do in Raleigh in practice and put it on the competition floor.
All right, well, this is a much heralded Georgia freshman class, and they are going to need them today, Sarah, maybe even more than Courtney Coupets-Carter knew. Unfortunately, an injury in the warm-ups to Haley DeYoung. That has opened up some more spots in the Georgia lineups, and we are going to see freshmen early and often today for the Gym Dogs.
Those January jitters can be a huge factor for these athletes as you go into the beginning of season, and it's a huge opportunity for this underclassmen, the #1 recruiting class. They have a real opportunity to show what they are capable of on the floor today.
And for NC State, they have a lot of experience. In fact, 3 fifth years back, among them Emily Shepard, who has been so good throughout her career. For Kim Landers to have her back another season, wow, what a luxury to build around.
Just an incredible athlete all around, and I know that her teammates are excited to have her back out on the floor this year, leading the team not only in the gym by example, but with what she can put up in terms of scores.
And we will see her as one of 3 scheduled all-arounders for NC State today as we look at Kim Landers leading the Wolfpack. And boy, talking with her earlier this week, Sarah, she was just so excited about the challenge, stepping into the ACC, getting to compete in that conference, which has so much history in so many sports, now coming to women's gymnastics. This is a team that really feels like they're ready for the challenge. And we will get things underway as Georgia begins on vault, and the season with it is underway.
I mean, just an incredible way to start for Amanda Cashman. Yurchenko layout full. We're going to see a lot more 10-0 start value vaults in this Georgia lineup this season, but she starts out with a clean Yurchenko full that starts from a 9.95.
And exactly who you would want if you're Courtney Coupets-Carter. Again, that injury to DeYoung, which obviously is going to play such a factor today for Georgia, and we wish her all the best as she recovers, to be able to put a 5th year out there in that position, and everyone can exhale a little bit as the first routine is underway for Georgia. Now to NC State, Kaylee Adamitis, the sophomore on bars.
Pay attention to her beautiful lines as she works through this routine. Full extension across the bar. Just a little bit of knees, maybe a missed handstand, but all things that you can work through. Ends with a stalder to double tuck dismount. Finds the landing, just a small step forward as she tries to salute as quick as she can, which this season is actually going to be a deduction. You have to really show control on the landing and salute before you turn to the judges.
Yeah, we'll see what the judges do with that one there. And meanwhile, Sarah, the changes keep coming for Georgia in their vault lineup. Kelsey Lee, who was supposed to go in as a freshman, has been scratched out of the vault lineup. So Georgia is going to go 5 up on vault, and that ratchets up the pressure on everyone just a little bit. Typically, you get 6 routines, only have to count 5, but they've got another veteran in Ashlyn LeClaire, a transfer out of Kentucky, to go second after Cashman.
And she is a powerhouse. Yurchenko layout full, small hop back. She is actually capable of Yurchenko 1.5, so we'll hope to see that as she gets a little bit deeper into the season. Take another look here. Good block off the table. You can see just that shift back. Needs to hold that landing a little bit more secure, but Coach Coupets-Carter said that she would rather see these athletes go aggressive and take the hop or take the step than go short on the landing.
Yeah, that's certainly one you can live with in week one, and you've got the entire scope of the regular season. These are two teams that have postseason aspirations. Into February and into March is when you can clean up those lineups. As we look at Courtney Kupets-Carter in her 7th season as head coach of her alma mater, the Southeast Regional Coach of the Year by the WCGA back in 2019, and she's got a big challenge ahead of her this season, Sarah. A couple of injuries that have lingered into the start of this season. Again, a freshman class that is really highly touted and highly thought of, but it's one thing to have all those recruiting accolades. It's another thing to put it out here in front of 10,000 fans at Stegman Coliseum. Up second for NC State on bars will be Peyton Childs, the junior. Career high of 9.85. As you look at your scores come up in the bottom right corner, waiting on the first score from Kaylee Adamitis, and we see that Amanda Cashman has started off the meet for Georgia with a 9.8. We get the score from LeClaire momentarily.
And this is part of the sport too, just having to stand by and wait for the scores to come in. She'll need to calm her nerves and focus on just swinging through this routine. Starts off with a huge pike Jaeger straight to shoot over. You'll want to see the athletes working through these handstands and hitting that solid position on top of the bar just to hop on the landing, but another clean routine for NC State.
Yeah, I thought one of the interesting things, Sarah, was as we talked with Kim Landris, she talked really about wanting to find these landings, that exclamation point of the routine. You don't often hear coaches talk about it in week one, but there you see that little hop back with 2 feet from Peyton Giles.
And I think this NC State team is just so hungry after how they ended their last season, and they really have big aspirations for where they want to go. So if you can hit those handstands and stick those landings early, that's what you want to do. First, 1.5 Yurchenko from Georgia. It's a 10.0 start value from the freshman, just to hop on the landing, but what a great way to come out and put a big vault in the Coliseum. Take another look, you'll see her legs are glued together. Great control on the landing. That's a vault that this team will love to have over the next 4 years.
Yeah, what a moment for Jada Battle as she begins her career here in Stegman. One of those Georgia freshmen that we are going to see today, and gives Georgia their first 10.0 start value, so you'll take those deductions from a 10.0 instead of out of a 9.95, which is what happened for Cashman and LeClaire on those Yurchenko layout fulls. And now looking at Maddie Hall. Speaking of freshmen, and again, trying to calm those nerves, is Maddie Hall is going to be a freshman that NC State counts on in a big way. All 4 events today, she is in the all-around for the first time in her career. Obviously a freshman that they feel very, very highly about there in Raleigh.
It's always tough to start your career out on the road and be relied on 4 events, but like I said, it's awesome to see these athletes be able to come out and just be baptized by fire, see what they can handle. And with this first meet of the season, they're going to learn a lot about themselves and how they can go back in the gym, improve, and get to where they want to be at the end of the season.
And Sarah, as we get ready to see Maddie Hall compete here, talk about what the judges are looking for during this first meet of the year in terms of some points of emphasis on bars, what we're watching for.
On bars, it's important to keep your rhythm. We want to see hit handstands, we want to see clean lines. You're looking for straight knees, pointed toes, and of course, just like Coach Landry said, you want to see the exclamation point on the dismount. Sticky feet, don't let those toes move, and hold the landing at least for 1 second, just like that. That is textbook.
Well, you talk about the exclamation point in a routine. There is one for Maddie Hall, who gets to stick her first collegiate routine. We'll get another look here, Sarah. Beautiful work from Hall, who I thought got stronger as this routine went on.
There is just nothing better than finishing your routine right on top of the landing, holding it, saluting. That is going to be a boost to her confidence.
All right, following a 9.8 from Jada Battle and her first vault in her career, senior Katie Finnegan up 4th for Georgia.
One of the leaders on this team showing us Yurchenko 1.5. You can see she's trying to hold that landing and really put the exclamation point. Nice clean vault in the air and just the tiniest hop. We'll take another look. You can see she gets her arms back, big block on the table, 1.5, tiny hop forward. But that is definitely a great start and something that she can continue to improve on as the season goes on.
And remember, we mentioned it earlier, Georgia is only competing 5 on vault, no margin for error. They've hit their first 4. They have 1 more to go, which will be Addie Wall. Meanwhile, we check back in with NC State over on bars. It will be another freshman, Katie Harper, who will begin her afternoon as we wait the scores for Maddie Hall, who just got her day started in the all-around. Harper, a freshman out of Columbus, Ohio, will be making her debut today on bars. This will be the only event that we're scheduled to see her this afternoon.
And Kevin, sometimes being on one event can actually put more pressure on the athlete because they have one job to do. So they want to go out and do the absolute best that they can for their team and their one opportunity to contribute a score. Nice first handstand. Clear hit to Ginger combination. You see she caught the bar just a little bit close. Had to bend those arms. The judges will take a deduction for that. That's that rhythm that we're looking for. Nice last handstand, setting up for her dismount. Double layout. Once again, finds the landing. Great job.
You have to be really impressed, Sarah, with the way that NC State has come out and found some of these landings. And like you said, you look at catching that Ginger close, having to get that rhythm back and that energy back, and boy, she did it in a big way, finishing up there.
Just a really beautiful routine from the freshman. I would say that if that's her one event she's contributing to, she's going to be really excited about that.
All right, a very important vault coming up here for Georgia. Addie Wall up 5th, the freshman to close out this vault lineup.
Big Yurchenko, 1.5, had to take a sizable hop on the landing, but to cap off this rotation with only 5 vaults going, it's better to go aggressive, and she did exactly what her team needed her to do.
Yeah, I think you'll definitely sign for that one if you're Courtney Kupets-Carter. Take it, move on to bars. You hit 5 vaults, relied on a couple of freshmen as we get another look there at Wall.
Great job from her, just really beautiful form in the air. It's great to see that Georgia has such powerful vaults and a little bit of room for improvement, because of course that's what you want to do. You want to get back in the gym and find those half tenths and tenths that you can get back to add to your final score.
And obviously we don't know the status of Haley DeYoung moving forward. She would have added a 4th 10-0 vault into that lineup, and time will tell. We talked about LeClaire potentially being able to upgrade to a 1.5. This is an event that Georgia hopes can be a strength for them this season once they get all those pieces back. And now you talk about the heavy hitters at the end of this NC State bars order. You've got your 2 fifth-years, 2 all-arounders, Lex Ortega and Emily Shepard here in the 5 and 6 spot. And this is a really great area, Sarah, where NC State can make up some ground and put in some big numbers at the end of their bars line. Definitely
a big opportunity. And one thing that Coach Landry said about Lex Ortega is that she is a go-getter. She is going to be vocal in the gym. She is going to be motivating to her teammates around her. And when it's time to go, and it's showtime, she is ready.
She was the all-around champion in last year's 2023 Eagle Gymnastics Championship. NC State departing the Eagle for the ACC. This is their first year competing as members of the Atlantic Coast Conference inaugural season. Ortega and Shepard, 2 gymnasts that have been doing it at a very high level for a very long time, can certainly compete with anyone in the country as we look at Ortega on bars.
Just an unfortunate fall, and it just goes to show you that those jitters can come for upperclassmen as well as the underclassmen. Take another look at what happened there. She does a clear hit to Tkachev and just isn't able to quite hold on. Maybe didn't get her body rotated enough around the bar. Important now to just keep her composure and finish the routine strong. It's going to be another deduction for tapping her feet on the ground and breaking rhythm. Just the dismount left, double layout, hop on the landing. Hopefully she can get back in the gym and just kind of erase that from her mind and move forward. Take one more look at the dismount, double layout, stretch position. A lot of potential for her, and that's a big routine that could be able to contribute to the score of this bars lineup when it is a hit.
A look at NC State this season, picked in a tie for first in the preseason coaches poll along with their rival UNC. UNC began their season last night, opened with a 193-725 in a quad meet at home. NC State's been in the NCAA tournament for the last 5 years, trying to go for their 6th time in a row. In fact, they were here in Athens the last time that Georgia hosted a regional, and that was a year where NC State actually came all the way out of the play-in round, that opening round, to make it to the final 16. And they are hoping to get to that plateau again, or maybe push it even further this year. And we're going to see Emily Shepard, the back-to-back Eagle Gymnast of the Year, up in the 6th spot. And this is exactly who you want, Sarah. Following a fall, the first little bit of adversity today so far for NC State. You get Shepard in the anchor role, a chance to drop that earlier fall for Tampa.
And sometimes it's good to deal with that adversity early so you can learn from it.
Speaking of adversity, Georgia having to compete 5 up, 5 count on vault, and they got through it. A high score of 9.85 from Katie Finnegan. That's a total team score of 48.975. The magic number is of 49. You do that 4 times, that's a 196, and obviously eventually want to start building from there into the 197 plus range. But 48.975 puts Georgia just a touch under a 196 pace, and obviously a lot of gymnastics left as we are just one rotation into today's meet.
Emily also having to deal a little bit with that waiting game. Nice first handstand right on top of the bar. That's what you want to see. Blind to straddle Jaeger. Once again, you see her just bending those elbows a slight bit to catch the bar. And some knees, a little bit of form break on that pack salto. Able to keep the routine going. Full twisting double. Slight step forward on the dismount. I mean, a great way to handle the pressure, the weighting. We'll take another look here. Great first handstand right on top of the bar. The start of the routine was beautiful. Just a little close on that Jaeger. Take a look here at the form break on the pack salto. Something that she'll definitely get back in the gym and be able to clean up.
Yeah, so interestingly, Sarah, we talked, about what an advantage the experience is for NC State, and maybe a few uncharacteristic struggles from the graduates. As Ortega, you see the score flash up there, an 8-8. They'll certainly be able to drop that and replace it with the score here from Emily Shepard, but not necessarily the way Ortega and Shepard would have wanted to begin their 5th year. And actually the high scores at the moment from their pair of freshmen, Maddie Hall and Katie Harper, both with 9.8s, along with junior Peyton Childs.
And that exactly is why it's a team sport. Anyone can contribute the high score. You never know where it's going to come from. And I'm excited to see how, as we move through this competition, how all of these freshmen are able to put up big scores for their teams. But of course, NC State happy to get through that first rotation and maybe shake off some of those jitters as they move through the competition. They'll be able to settle into their gymnastics a little bit more.
And now we will have an exhibition routine. This is Maddie Reed, a sophomore for NC State, and both teams will take advantage of some opportunities to exhibition some routines that won't count toward the overall team score. But Sarah, there is no replicating competition experience, and to be able to do it here in Stegman Coliseum, something that obviously Kim Landers wants her team to take advantage of.
Definitely. Anytime you can get that added experience for an athlete to go up and do a routine in competition setting, because as we've seen today for Georgia, you never know when your name's going to be called, and it's a next man up mentality. She's doing a great job swinging through this routine. Just the dismount, full twisting double, tiny step on the landing. But a great job.
Will take us to the end of rotation number 1. Georgia goes 5 up and hits 5 on vault. NC State, by virtue of that routine from Emily Shepard, able to drop a fall on bars, and both teams survive and advance to the second rotation. It'll be Georgia on bars and NC State on vault when we come back to Stegman Coliseum with rotation number 2.